A full guide to make a calculator in Python in under 10 minutes. Let's start. Let's create two variables. Our first variable is going to be called num1. And what num1 is going to do is it's going to ask the user for what is your first number. And it's going to turn whatever they input into an integer. Since our second variable num2 is basically gonna do the same job as num1, we're gonna copy and paste it and make some few modifications. So num1 is gonna ask for their first number, num2 is gonna ask for their second number, and we're gonna create another variable called options. Options is gonna let them pick their arithmetic operation of their choice. So we're gonna ask them your choices and addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. In Python, this is the symbol for multiplication and this is the symbol for division. This is our part one. So, my bad. So, this is our part one, and let's just review what we did so far. Firstly, we created num1, our first variable, and asked them their first number. If the user enters anything, it's gonna be converted into an int. But if it's not a number, Python is gonna give us an error. We're gonna deal with that later. And num2 is basically gonna do the same job, but it's gonna gather their second number. Options is gonna let them pick an arithmetic operations. We're gonna give the user four basic arithmetic operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now, let's move on to our next part. In order for our calculator to work, we're going to be using if statements. If you don't know what if statements are, if statements are true or false statements. This means that they're conditional statements. Here's an example. In this example, x equals 10, y equals 7. If x equals 10, this in Python means equals, and we're going to print hello. If it's false, we're going to move on to the next statement, else. If it's false, we're going to be printing x is not equal to 10. If the statement is true, we're going to be printing hello. That's basically how if statements work. Also, if we want to add more than one condition, we could use the elif statement. Let's see an example on how we could use the elif statement. Elif x higher than y, then print Python. Now let's run this and see what happens. We've printed hello. So what Python did was it checked if this statement was true. And since it was true, it did not check this part of the code. It just printed hello. Now, if we change this to a false statement, now Python will jump down onto the elif statement. Now if we run this, we're gonna be printing Python. I'm just like shown here. That's a basic example of if, elif, and else statements. Now let's go back onto our calculator code. Now that we know what if statements are and how to use them, let's actually use them in our code. So we're gonna write if options. This is our first condition, equals quotations, and in these quotations we're gonna put the addition symbol and colon. What we're saying here is if the user enters addition or this symbol, then we are going to run this or check this condition, and we're gonna run whatever that's in this condition. Now let's create a new variable called result. What result is gonna do is it's gonna store the sum of num1 plus num2. And then we're gonna use the print function, the print function to print the result, like so. And let's just copy this and modify this to make it work for subtraction. So if you remember, if you're entering a second condition, it should be elif, and change that to the subtraction symbol, and change that to the subtraction symbol. Now that we got addition and subtraction ready, all we have to do is do multiplication and division. So do the same thing for multiplication. So that's the symbol for multiplication, and same thing over here. Control copy and paste this. So this is for division and division. Now we got all the arithmetic operations ready. But what if the user enters something that's not one of these four options? Then we're gonna get an error. So else print sorry, enter a valid operation, and we're gonna put a period to indicate that's the end of the sentence. And let's see if this works. Run Python file. What is your first number? 9. What is your second number? 9. And choose your operator. I'm gonna choose subtraction, and we got 0. Now let's try that again. What is your first number? 5. What is your second number? 9. Your choice, I don't know. Addition, enter 14. Boom, it works. If you want to see more Python videos like this, subscribe.